and I'm trying to work through that, and they said, well, you know, we don't really know where the problem is. Another example of where we get a little frustrated is with the dam inspection. I have to adhere to a dam inspector. Well, all of a sudden, the dam inspector comes out and said, did you know your water master turned you in for not having a proper head gate? No, I didn't know. He said, that's not that authority. It's between you and me. I said, well, what do you see anything wrong with the head gate? No. Well, I bought a new head gate with the understanding that deputy water master was going to put it in. He still has it. We haven't put it in. Whether we put it in or not, I don't care if we put it in or not. But the point is, all of a sudden, we bring the dam inspector into it, which is another government agency that I have to pay, you know, to have the inspection. He said, it's clearly between you and us. Nothing to do with the Water Master Service. Yet, Lassen County Water Master Service went to them. I said, do you have proof of that? He said, yes, I do. I have it in my notes. I don't have that documentation yet, but I will get it.
Let's see if we can continue to focus on, thank you, Wally, for taking the time to come out of the valley and come up here. I believe next I had Ramsey, then Barbara, then Bob Beekman.
Hi, Ramsey Wood, RCD board member. You know, I think part of our problem as a board right now is we do actually not follow our rules and regulations. You know, from the top to the bottom. You know, certain individuals just do whatever they want to. And, you know, that is part of the problem. With the water service budget, this is the first year that we've actually gotten close to having things done on time. The only reason was because Jesse Claypool, that was one of the things, when he got on there, that's what he wanted. You know, if it would have come up to the, you know, it's never been done in the past. All these problems that we're looking at right now have all been from past boards, and they're finally coming to a head now. And, you know, as new board members, we're trying to fix it. So if we can't add items to agendas to fix problems that we see, you know, we're not going to be able to do anything. And that's what happened at the last meeting. You know, an item, you know, I entered an item on a timely basis, and it wasn't added, and then I asked it to be added on at the meeting, and it wasn't added again. So, you know, it comes down to procedures and rules and regulations, I think.
Do you have procedures, rules, and regulations that you use?
We have the RCD rules and regulations. I think they need to be updated, as with anything. I think they're the original ones from 2007, 2008. But, you know, we need to look at all of them, is the hard part.
Everybody needs to take a moment, study them, and
Yeah.
go by it. Yeah. And I would guess there is a procedure that the authority of a chairman, and his job, some people get the wrong idea of what their job is when they're chairman. You probably need something on that, too.
Right, and I think we need to
A
update.
procedure of it, duties of a chairman.
Yep.
We have it here.
Yeah.
So that needs, that kind of thing, you guys need to educate yourself. Or there needs to be workshops available through maybe RCD or work through the county that you can learn these things.
County has expressed a willingness, obviously, to go through Brown Act training, which we've done periodically in the past. And I talked to Chairman Bentley about that. Retta's sitting here listening to me, so we can get that Brown Act training, if you will, around into.
Well, the state has an online,
Yep.
and
Oh,
I
yeah,
did
you
that
got-
already.
You got a bunch of courses on there.
Ethics.
Aaron, you got a
I
question,
have a
comment for
question for
Randy?
you. Not only you, Ramsey, but the other members. When you were a new member of the RCD, was you given the little binder deal on to be a new RCD director on some of the rules and procedures? Because
No, we weren't. You know, we were given, it was probably the third or fourth meeting, we were given a big white binder that was a part of the WAC binder, you know, copy of that, and it had rules and regulations in it at that point. But, you know, we have a lot of room for improvement is the problem. And we actually have to have meetings and.
there might be something you want to check into. I don't know if it's with WRCD, but when I became a director up there on the PIT RCD, that was several years ago, they had a little binder that, you know, kind of how to conduct yourself as a director for the Resource Conservation District.
Yeah.
So anyway, that might be something you guys can pursue for all, especially because you guys are getting the board. So
Right.
everybody has that now, might help, it might not. Another tool.
Anybody else on the board? Okay, we're gonna move on then. Thank you, Ramsey, for your comments. Don't leave the room yet, though. We'll see where we're going. Barbara Howe. Did you have a good fair, Barbara?
It was beautiful. We just showed everybody the beauty of the cow.
What kind of cow, Barbara?
The special cow, the
That's
foster
right.
mother of the human race.
We know you do a
You
wonderful
asked
job with the
for it.
children.
Yes. I just wanted to say Willisdow is really onto it. If they could get rid of the complaints, then everybody could think a little bit clearer, take some time to do some projects, and maybe they would feel good about something rather than fighting. In 2004, after probably about 5 or 6 years of squabbling over this or that, the good old adjudication, which is the source of all water, DWR was in charge. They said, look, this is the way the adjudication says, this is what you have to do. If you don't like it, go get a lawyer, take care of it with your neighbor in the court, leave everybody else alone. And it's like you said, money makes them sit up and take notice. If they have to pay an attorney, they'll come around.
Thank you, Barbara. Thanks for coming. Bob Beeman?
Bob Beeman, water user, been around for about 50 years. This water system, and it's in the biggest mess I've seen. There's a cancer in this area right now that's affecting everything that's happening with this RCD board. There needs to be some changes. People that are there aren't leading. There's people been appointed by you guys. I think they're doing a pretty good job. But there's still some people that are blocking things from going any further. And they're part of the cancer, okay? And it's my neighbor back there over the bills. We talk on this daily. Nothing's getting done. Okay, we're paying for something for nothing. Maybe the move with without the attorney, maybe we'll get something done. If the chairman can see that. Thank you.
Okay, Bob, thank you very much for coming.
That's you, Laurel.
It is, I've been sitting back here being pretty quiet.
Did you get all rested up after the fair, Laurel?
No. Laurel Marsters, Janesville. This whole dialogue has been so interesting. The RCD board, when they took over the water master position, it was wonderful. We thought we were going to do well. They developed this, they call it WAC committee, which is called Water Advisory Committee, if I'm not mistaken. And they are, in my opinion, supposed to handle problems, analyze, and present their solution or what they think might work to the RCD for a final decision. Regarding all these complaints, yeah, sure, they're a nuisance. But when you try to go through the process and don't get anywhere, I've had a complaint in for a long time too. And mine was, I thought, pretty valid. In 2 different years, the reporting, which we all know that pretty soon the state's going to start charging us for water. The reporting on mine said that I got all kinds of water in 2011 and none in 2012 or vice versa. I think it was vice versa. And one year I did get some water, and the next year none. And the year I had none, and I agree, Baxter Creek is pretty immaterial. But it's the legalities of the situation. And you go through the complaint process and you go to WAC and they shine it off. They don't want to hear it. RCD doesn't want to hear it. That June meeting, the chairman said, I don't want to hear anything about water. Okay. Then ask your WAC board to handle it and bring me a solution. That's what they're supposed to do. Bring a solution. we have to have this complaint process. You can't just, it was interesting that you said, RCD, their budget, you look at, the water budget, we don't look at. And we're the ones that get charged, and that's what comes on our taxes. So that should definitely be looked at. All these things should go according to what's set out. You say that these people need education. They need to follow the rules they have. If they do not like those rules, go through the proper process to change them, to amend your bylaws and have it all down. You don't take money from one section and put it to another without an approval of your board. It's all these things. And you just sit back here and you think, if you would just go by what's down, it would work. I agree that we have come a long way, but we have a long way to go. And the fighting is not, as I told Aaron Sunday, and this is trite. Working together makes it happen. Otherwise, it doesn't. Thank you for your time today and
Questions,
your
comments?
interest.
Thank you, Laurel. Anybody else in the audience? I mean, obviously, my own standpoint, I'm not sure what kind of a solution we've come up with yet. But is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to offer any comments and/or a solution to the issue? Mr. Bartlett, remaining quiet.
I'm Mike Bartley, a water user in Madison County here, and I just would like to offer my opinion that it's pretty obvious that water is a very precious commodity and very important to every one of us here. We are in my opinion, a drying trend. We're not getting the amount of moisture from Mother Nature that we have gotten in years gone by. And we all need to realize that, and we all need to work together, in my opinion. And in fact, Darren and I talked about this the other night at the fair, to better utilize the resources that we have, and in this case, being water. And I hope that everybody here can maybe put some of these old arguments aside and all of us work together to conserve and better utilize this precious resource that we've got. And that's all I got to say on that.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for coming today. Anybody else in the audience have any comments they'd like to make? Come back up to the board. Obviously, again, we can read our agenda. Mostly this was an opportunity to air the issues if we could. We conducted a public meeting and received a staff report, and item number C is provide direction to staff, if any. So, Aaron, you want to start it out?
I can say a few things. You know, it really kind of saddens me, guys. I mean, I'm a rancher at the other end of the valley. I mean, I pay fees on my taxes for a water master. I have neighbors upstream and downstream, so I know all the water. I don't have a dog in this particular fight that we're arguing about here. And I know why you got away from DWR, because it was getting expensive, it was getting flat ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Our situation up there is a little bit different, but for down here, for you guys, they went to the RCD, so that you guys can get out from DWR. And there was a lot of smart people spent a lot of their personal time, a lot of personal money, going to a lot of different meetings, sitting down, working together to get this thing figured out. And now look, you got this side over here and this side over here. These are people that grew up together, that have been friends and neighbors their entire lives, and now you're ready to kill each other. You're ready to shoot each other. You never talk to each other again. There's been so many friendships and everything lost over this. And over what? I mean, part of the water thing, I mean, if the water master's not doing his job, be neighborly about it. Go put the board in, or pull the board out, or talk to him, talk to your neighbor. I mean, you can work with each other. I mean, you know, and as far as running a board, or running a meeting, I mean, come on, guys, it's not that hard. I appointed people because when we come up here, because of the dysfunction last time, I based my vote on one particular question that I asked. And I asked those guys, if you guys were on there, this thing isn't working, would you be willing to get rid of the water master service to the RCD? Okay, and now, like, you guys can't even get a quorum together. Get rid of the water master service, guys. Contract it out, put it out to somebody else so that the RCD can move on. Quit being so prideful, quit being so stubborn, and move on. These guys did it up here. I've made motions up here that's died for lack of a second. I've been the only one for it. I've been voted down, so what? Go on, move on to the next issue and man up. I mean, that's all I've got to say. I mean, come on, guys, let's be smart about this and quit being so stubborn. All right? Business is business and friends is friends. If you can't be a business person and a friend, get rid of the business. That means the water master service. Get rid of it. Farm it out to somebody else back in New York City so that you don't know them. Let them do their job. Run a meeting the way meetings should be ran. I've seen this guy run up here before. He has a Robert's Rules and Orders book sitting right here beside him. You got a question, ask. It's not that hard, guys. There's a lot of IQs out there. Use it. That's all I'm done.
Thank you. Any other board member want to add to it, Jim?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Mr. Alba. It's disappointing to me that what I see and what I hear is, and I don't have a dog in the fight either, because I live half a block away on 50 by 100 piece of ground. That's all I own, that's all I have to worry about. The city gives me water through the tap, so I'm not in the world that you live in. But I think, I respect what it is you try to do, but I think that we have to rise above our own petty selves in terms of what is best for the community as a whole. And what I've listened to is a lot of personal agendas on all sides. And rather than, strive for the common good, for the public interest at large, we wind up, focusing on what about me or what about my friends. And so, to be honest with you, I think anybody who isn't able to do that on both sides ought to just resign. If we're going to make appointments, and I got to tell you right now, I'm not interested in appointing anybody else. Because all that comes down to is trying to, one side versus the other. And I agree with Supervisor Alba. Get somebody from New York City. I never thought I'd ever say that. And somebody totally detached, to deal with it. And I was led to believe that, as a means of trying to save some money and get away from the ridiculousness of the state, bringing the water master thing in-house would be a good move. If I would have had a clue what this has evolved into, I can tell you right now, I would not have supported that action back then. Because at least the state is somewhat removed in terms of dealing with that. I mean, believe me, they're going to bleed you dry. I'd rather have them bleed you dry than have you guys kill each other. And I've seen watched a lot of good friendships be destroyed because of just that very fact. And that is not serving the public's interest. I can tell you, the public, we've spent a lot of time as a board and as staff and whatever, and as a community, dealing with, the lack of water that is out there. So I think you really need to reassess where you're at. And to be honest with you, I would like to see the 4 directors that are left to get together, figure out how they can move forward together, not one side versus the other, and submit to this board a common, unanimous recommendation that this is how we're going to proceed, and not play the kind of game that's been being played. I'm disappointed in the fact that
you know, we're not taking care of the public business anymore. And I really hope that that could be achieved. And if that can't be achieved, then maybe all four should resign, and we look for 5 people from New York City to be the new board, with the idea of hopefully taking the me out of it and turning it into the we. So that's what I would offer, Mr. Chairman. I wholeheartedly agree with Mr. Alba. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to be interested in making an appointment that's going to break the tie. I think the burden is upon the 4 of you and the community as a whole to come up with the solution and demonstrate to us the worthiness of having, you know, the RCD, and do what the RCD has been so capable of doing in the past, and focus on those issues and get away from this water war.
Thank you, Jim. Gentlemen?
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I am strongly against going back to DWR. And I think that's going backwards big
I'm
time.
not suggesting that.
I know you're not. Those that aren't paying water master fees have no clue. DWR, at the time we moved, and I was one of the people that had a lot to do with finding some place to go. We came to the board of supervisors. We talked about making a water district. We did everything.
Equal water company.
The water company, and Larry was involved in this, and Richard Egan. And the solution was RCD, but I do have a dog in this fight. And I'm looking around here, I bet I have more water rights between my own land that I own and the partnership me and my son have in land release than anybody in this room. And it's a huge, huge expense. And I strongly believe DWR would tell us to shut it. They don't want us back. The reason they were, I mean, look, my wife comes from Indian Valley. They got special legislation from Senator or Assemblyman Lowe to form a water district. We can do that here. My ex-sister-in-law had a ranch over there. It about put that valley out of business, because what we did, they didn't do. They ignored it, and it about broke every farmer in that valley. We don't want to go that direction. There's a huge disconnect in this board, RCD board, I can see that, and I think it's still salvageable. I think we can make it work. You know, going to a water district, that's going to take years. We have to go that direction, we can go that direction. But I think what you guys need to do, and I was on the Richmond School Board, and I went to workshops on boardsmanship. When I was chairman, I went to workshop on being a chairman. I did it at the high school board level, I did it at the junior college board level. I've done it here as county supervisor. I did it through Farm Bureau. I've been to so damn many workshops on boardsmanship and what can a chairman do? What is his job? What can't he do? He's not above everybody. And I think you guys are lacking this training. You guys need some training on what it takes to be a board member. You need to study your regulations, your procedures, and your rules. And you need to do your job. I don't think you guys are doing your job. And right now it's 2-2. Whoever we appoint, if that's on Mr. Bentley's side, the board will function, but if you have the 3 votes they need. If it's on the other side, the board will function, but they have the 3 votes they need. And I'm not against reappointment. I'm not against reappointing the entire board. The last thing I'll say is, if the board members there cannot act in a responsible and professional manner, train themselves and do their job as they were appointed to, resign. I don't have a problem appointing 5 new members. Thank you.
Larry?
Thank you. Yeah, you know that I'm not gonna go down the list of everybody that talked, but I've been, writing names down. I mean, the one common denominator, obviously is the problem with the water master service. There was only like 2 or 3 that didn't mention it, have brief, comments, but, I agree that it's pitiful that, the meetings aren't being run properly, and I wholeheartedly agree with Aaron that, And I understand that, you know, maybe the DWR doesn't sound like the right way to go, but there's other avenues to go to remove the water master service from the RCD, so they function separately. And that's, I mean, there's a lot of people here that spend a lot of time to come here, and they're busy, and they, you know, trying to earn a living, and what I don't wanna see is that we just leave the room and don't accomplish, you know, well, I won't say accomplish anything, because just the fact that we had a discussion is accomplished something. But I think for it to be meaningful, I mean, we really need to decide, and I personally, and I know Aaron feels the same because of what he said. I'd like to come back with some real options on what our avenues are and the possible action items to remove the water master service from the RCD. Have another meeting on that. And
The only thing I'd say, Larry, and I don't mean to dispute it, we don't have the authority to do that.
But what I'm saying.
The water master service is not under the purview of the board of
well,
supervisors.
but yeah, but Marty in his summary here, he gave
We can recommend something,
Right, no,
but
exactly, yeah. No, I don't
it's a
mean-
court action, I mean, take a look at that.
But we have to
Yeah.
start somewhere.
Right.
And so, I mean.
All right, we can make
you know,
recommendations.
Yeah, we've been at this for over a couple hours. I mean, today's obviously not the day, but I think we need to, seriously, look at that option and all the, you know, pros
No, I
and
would agree,
cons.
we certainly should look at it, we can make recommendations, but
That's what I'm saying, yeah, I don't want it to end and then everybody leaves and we think, you know, everybody's gonna get along ever after. I mean, you know, it'd be nice, but not normally how it happens. So, I think, I wanna go along with what Aaron says and look at an avenue to separate the water master service from the RCD.